I'm the Mythology Guy, and I just saw Antlers. Well, I saw it last night, but I'm talking about it now. Will and I went and saw a double feature. We saw Antlers and we saw Halloween Kills. Now, the interesting thing is, we were actually a lot more excited to see Halloween Kills, because, you know, we like slasher, Michael Myers stuff. But the funny thing is, we ended up enjoying this way more than Halloween Kills. Of course, that's partially because Halloween Kills is terrible. Don't watch it. I wish that movie was myth-related, because I'd love to do a whole video talking about all the reasons that movie sucks. Oh god, that's a bad film. But yeah, that's not what we're here to talk about today. Antlers was pretty darn good in some ways, and so I'm going to do no spoilers, then I'll go into spoilers later. I'll give you guys a spoiler alert as I usually do. So, I can't really tell you exactly what's going on in this movie without ruining it, though if you've seen the trailer and you're into mythology, you may be able to figure out what's going on. I figured it out from watching the trailer, I called it, and it was confirmed in the movie. I was like, ha, I was right. But basically what's going on, without spoilers, is there's a kid in town, and he's hiding something. Like, there's something going on at his home, with his family, and there's this teacher. He's in the teacher's class, and the teacher has a history of abuse in her family. Like, she dealt with abuse growing up, and so she's afraid this kid might be getting abused, and so she's determined to find out what's going on. And what's going on ain't exactly what she thought was going on, but it's pretty crazy. Like, this is very, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it's a horror film, so you can tell there's something crazy going on. Now, one of the main things that makes this movie good is the kid. The kid, this film is very well acted, and especially the kid. He's a very good actor. It's impossible not to like this kid. He's so sweet. He obviously cares about his family, and he wants, like, you know, things to get better, and he's a smart kid, too. And yeah, he's very cute. He has a nice personality and everything. And, you know, it's kind of heartbreaking to see some of the shit he has to go through. And, like, of course, you know, he's getting bullied because, you know, some kids suck. You know, honestly, it's a little hard. Like, when I was first introduced to this teacher, I didn't like her because she's the kind of teacher who calls on students whose hands aren't raised in class. I hate it when teachers do that. Like, especially when you call on the kid in the back of the room who's obviously trying to just be invisible, and you fucking draw so much attention to him, especially when you call on him, and he's like, I don't know, and you're like, no, come on, fuck you. I hate it when teachers do that. Like, just embarrassing and humiliating a kid and making his bullying worse. Like, teachers don't think about that when they do that shit, and it drives me insane. I hate it. Especially when there's a girl at the front of the room with her hand up in the air. Call on that girl, you bitch. Anyway. But yeah, that's just a me thing. But yeah, so they do establish why the teacher is so focused on finding out what's going on with this kid, because she has her own history of abuse, and yeah, they go into it, and yeah, like, it's pretty clear what they're insinuating happened to her. I'm not gonna go deep into it because it's disgusting. But yeah, she also has a brother, and he's a character, you know, he's there. You know, there's nothing particularly great or bad about his character, in my opinion. Now, one thing that holds this movie back a little bit is there is some character stupidity and some tropes, but not nearly as bad as Halloween Kills, but there is some of it. I'll go into this in spoilers, but there's a time when you think they're not going to do a certain stupid trope, but then they kind of do it later, and, you know, it's like, while it's happening, you're just yelling at the screen going, you idiot! Like, come on! Now, this movie also has the advantage, though, of being a Del Toro movie. He's always, like, known for making monsters look cool and look creative, and yeah, there is something in this movie that looks really cool and creative when it is revealed, and I can't tell you what it is, but I will talk about it in spoilers. Though there are also some issues with it, because, yeah, I wouldn't be talking about this movie if there wasn't some mythological elements in it, and there's something about the mythological elements that I think some people are not going to be happy about, and there are some things that I would have preferred done a little differently, like more accurately, like in certain ways. But yeah, like I said, the kid is very likable. The story is good overall. There are some points where I wanted it to hurry up a little, because there was one point during the film when I just looked at the time and I was like, oh, it's already been an hour and I still don't feel like much has happened yet. So yeah, it can drag a little bit. But, you know, at least there's no character that, you know, I hated or anything like that. And there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, I also have a little theory that this whole story may actually be a metaphor for something, and I'm gonna have to go into that in spoilers too. Unfortunately, yeah, there's not a lot I can say about this movie without getting into spoilers. All I can really tell you is it's well acted. I enjoyed it enough. The design when it's revealed is cool. But there are some tropes in the story, and there is some stuff about the ending that I wasn't thrilled about, and some stuff about the accuracy that I wasn't thrilled about. So that's the best I can say. If I had to rate this movie, I might give it a 7 out of 10. Good movie. That's what 7 means. 7 does not mean average. 7 means good. 5 is average. And if I had to just really quickly rate Halloween Kills, I'd give that movie a fucking 2, because it fucking sucks. The only good thing about it is Michael Myers. Everybody else is a complete idiot in that movie. So yeah, if you're looking for a horror movie to watch, thing is, this is more of a story and metaphorical, and you care about the characters. It's not a big fun slasher monster movie gore fest. Though there are some good jump scares in it, but there's no like fun creative kills or anything. In fact, there was one kill that actually kind of disappointed me. So, and there is a little bit of plot armor in the film, but yeah, I'll get into that stuff in the spoiler section. So yeah, overall 7 out of 10, good film, decent. Maybe check it out. But I'm not saying you gotta see this film. You gotta get to the theater and see this film. Like, it's just good overall. Way more fun than the other horror film that's out. So, I'm gonna get into spoilers now. Spoiler alert. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna definitely have more to say now. So, the monster is a Wendigo. And, yeah, called it from the trailer. Excited to see a Wendigo in a movie. I don't know if that's been done before. If it has, please let me know. I know it's been done in Until Dawn and the Grimm TV show and other stuff. Never seen one in a movie, though. However, what I think some people are not going to be thrilled about is, as you can tell by the title of this movie, they're using the version of a Wendigo that's like part deer with the antlers and the scully deer head thing and everything, and it looks awesome. However, for those who don't know, the whole Wendigo having antlers and being deerish, that's more of a modern interpretation of it. In the actual old Native American version, Wendigos look a little more like Nosferatu, or like they're like bald, gray, skinny, skin stretched to cover the body, long limb, long fingernails, fangs. They look like starving, long-limbed corpses, kinda, basically. That's what a Wendigo typically looks like. But yeah, there is now a newer modern interpretation where it's like got the antlers and everything. And I do think that version is cooler, but it's less accurate. Especially like I even like nodded to it in a video I made about Wendigos a while ago, and a lot of people were saying, "Hey, that's not the right version. You want the Until Dawn looking version." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, fair enough." So yeah, in this movie, yeah, the antlered version they're using is not necessarily accurate, and that's especially kind of a problem when you literally name the movie Antlers. You literally named it The Inaccuracy. That's kind of funny. But to be fair, this is, in my opinion, the cooler looking version, and maybe they were trying to do a nod to the original design with how the dad looks before he turns into the antlered version. So yeah, the Wendigo is the little kid's dad. He gets infected because he's in a mine making meth, basically. And obviously, a mine symbolizes, digging into the earth and damaging it, so there's a Wendigo down there because, for those of you who don't know, Wendigos are symbols of of greed and nature being out of balance. So it's like when you cause harm to the earth, it reacts by these kinds of creatures being created. And also, so yeah, a Wendigo is they're basically supposed to be like two ways to become a Wendigo. The Wendigo is a spirit, and it will possess you and turn you into a Wendigo creature if one, you're incredibly greedy. This is one version of the myth. Or two, the other more popular version of the myth, if you resort to cannibalism. Because a Wendigo eats humans. That's what it does. So it will either like punish you for your greed by turning you into the ultimate creature of greed, which will go around literally eating people, kind of like the Tao Che in Chinese mythology. Or if you just result to eating human flesh, that like weakens your mortal soul to the morality of your soul to the point that a Wendigo spirit can possess you and turn you into basically the monster on the outside that you've become on the inside by eating human flesh. This movie doesn't really do either of that, though, which is the issue. They kind of just make it as though the Wendigo is just a disease. Like, you catch it if you're around a Wendigo for too long. So what happens at the very beginning of the film is the dad and his partner in their meth lab in a mine get attacked by a Wendigo. The Wendigo kills his partner, and we don't really see what happens between the dad and the Wendigo. My best assumption is the dad must have killed the Wendigo, because we never see that Wendigo again, and then the dad starts slowly turning into a Wendigo. And what's interesting is this dad has been established as, yeah, he's a meth dealer, he's a meth addict. I mean, I assume he's a dealer, because, you know. And, yeah, the cop brother of the teacher has said, yeah, I've had to revive that guy several times. And it's like, well, why hasn't he been arrested? Well, then what happens to the kids is what he's saying, which is a little ridiculous. You know, you'd think if, like, it's the parent is constantly going out for meth, you should probably arrest that parent, like, and the kids would probably have a better chance. Look, I haven't been in the system, but it's probably better than living in a drug den house. But another interesting thing is they establish that this father clearly cares about his kids. Like, even though he's doing illegal shit, obviously, at the very beginning of the film, he's got his younger kid waiting in the car, which is obviously irresponsible. You shouldn't just leave your kid in the car. But he comes over to his kid, and kid's like, why can't I come in? He said, oh, son, it's not a place for children. Just stay here with the car and don't drive off with it. It's actually kind of a charming moment. It kind of shows what their father-son relationship is like, and it looks like his kid really loves him, so I don't even know if I can say this dad is supposed to be a bad father. It's like... And then after he gets infected, he goes and he installs... He can tell what's happening. He installs so many locks on his bedroom door, and he tells his kids, he says, do not let me out of this room no matter what, because he doesn't want to hurt his kids. And so that was actually a moment where Wilda and I were like, oh, like he's trying to protect his kids. So it's nice to see that they didn't just make this dad this one-dimensional, like, evil person. No, he wasn't perfect. Like, he wasn't a great person, but he had good to him before he turned. You can see that he loves his sons and that he doesn't want them to get hurt. So at least there's that. But yeah, like, he's obviously not a perfect guy. None of this would have happened if he wasn't making meth on the side. So yeah, he starts turning into a Wendigo, and at first here's what's weird, though. So the dad gets infected, I guess, by killing the Wendigo. I personally am not sure. I think they might be saying the spirit of the Wendigo goes into the body of the nearest, most suitable host after the Wendigo is killed. Because he kills the Wendigo, I guess, and it goes into him. But then what's weird is also his kid starts getting sick. His kid... I don't think had any physical interaction with the original Wendigo, but I guess the interactions between the kid and the dad were enough to get the little kid sick. And then the older brother, who's 12, who is like the main kid of the movie, is taking care of both of them. While they're locked in the dad's room, he's bringing them, like, meat, he's killing animals to bring to them, he's bringing them whenever he can, he's dehydrated, he's starving because he's not eating, he's just bringing food to his dad and brother because he loves them, and he's a good kid. Like I said, it's one of the main things that props the movie up is how likable this kid is. But then it's really weird because So I guess the little brother, whatever short interaction he had with the dad was enough to get him sick, but Lucas taking care of both of them for weeks wasn't enough to get Lucas sick and have him get infected with the Wendigo disease or whatever it is. And then it gets even weirder, because at the very end of the film, the cop brother has a very short interaction with the father Wendigo, and that's enough to get the cop brother infected with the disease, even though Lucas was never infected over 3 weeks of interacting with them. I don't get it. I don't get how this disease works, and it's one of the things that really hurts the movie for me. Because, to my knowledge, none of these characters did cannibalism during the film until they were already infected. So cannibalism didn't cause them to become Wendigos, and I can't say they got sick as a result of their own human greed, because the little brother wasn't doing anything greedy, and the cop wasn't doing anything greedy, so it's just a virus, I guess, which I don't like. I prefer the mythological version. And then in addition to that, why didn't the virus infect Lucas if it was able to infect the little brother and the cop so damn quickly? I don't know, what is Lucas immune or something? It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make sense the way they did the Wendigo spreading. I think it would have been a lot more interesting if you had it have to do with greed or cannibalism. Now, one thing that I do think is really cool is at one point, so the dad starts out just as like kind of looking a little bit like the original Native American version of the Wendigo, just like, like no antlers or anything. But then after he eats some actual human flesh, that's when he turns. And you see the antlers come out of his mouth. It's actually really cool the way, that's some Del Toro shit right there. But then later on in the film, after the dad Wendigo is killed, then the little brother starts turning into the antler Wendigo, even though he didn't eat human flesh. I thought that the human flesh was causing, I thought, now we're having nods to the myth, but I guess not. I guess it's just an overtime thing. I don't... that's one of the main problems with the film, is it's really confusing how this Wendigo curse or virus or whatever it is works. I don't get how it works. If you guys saw it and you were able to understand perfectly how it works, please let me know. What am I missing here? I don't get it. Now, okay, so, I mentioned there was a time when it looked like they weren't going to do a trope, but they did it. So the teacher goes to the kid's house to talk to his dad, and the door is unlocked and open because horror movie. And so she pushes it open. I'm like, oh, are you gonna go in there? No, she walks away. She goes, fuck this. I hear what sounds like an animal in the house and the door's unlocked. I don't like where this is going. And she's out of there. I'm like, okay, we're not doing that stupid trope. But you know what she does? She goes and she tells the principal, I think there's abuse going on with this family. The principal goes, okay, I'll go talk to them. And you know what the principal, in all her... This woman runs a school and is the dumbest person in town. She goes to the house, sees the doors open, goes in, calls out, has someone here? And hears noises. This is when you call the police. And she walks upstairs and sees this locked door and there are noises coming from the other side. This is when you call the police. Does she do that? No, she unlocks the door, opens it. There is blood on the walls. This is where you call the police. She doesn't do that. She goes into the room, which has blood on the walls, walks up the stairs, calling out, hello, is anyone in here? You moron. Oh, God. And of course, so she goes up there, of course she gets killed. Of course. You know she's going to get killed from the moment she arrives at that house. It's unbelievable. So I was thinking, all right, well, at least we're going to see a really cool, creative kill now. But no, we don't. The kill just honestly kind of looks like this. So the dad Wendigo tackles the teacher, and we just see this. That's what we see. I don't really like how it was done. I thought we were going to see him tear the flesh off her, but it was just... That's what we see. So, yeah, I thought we were going to see some really creepy, like, oh my god, the flesh is being torn. No, we didn't get that. So yeah, I feel like in some ways this movie didn't go all the way with things that it could have gone all the way with and then been a lot more fun as a result. Yeah. when there is, though, what's pretty fucked up is kids die in this film. There are two kids get killed in this movie. The kid's bully gets... What's interesting is even when the dad fully turns, it seems like he still doesn't want to hurt his kids. He's still, like, full Wendigo Antlers dad still doesn't hurt the two kids. But yeah, he kills his son's bully and eats him. And it's pretty... Yeah. I mean, again, we don't really get to see exactly what happens, but we do see the Wendigo, like, pounce on him, and we hear it. Then, later on, there's a little bit of a stupid, tropey scene where, the brother's cop partner shows up at the house alone. It's like, cop alone in a horror movie, checking something out, and this isn't even the main character cop. This is the other cop whose name we don't even know. That I know what's gonna happen. He's gonna die. Like, I leaned over to Wilda and went, "You know how I know how he's gonna die? You know how I know he's gonna die?" And she said, "How?" And I went, "What's his name?" And she went, yeah, like, that's how we know. Did they even say it? I don't know. So yeah, he walks into this shed by himself, like an idiot. Dead bodies have been popping up all over town, and there are only two damn cops in this town. Call for backup, my god. And of course, but then there's a good jump scare where the Wendigo antlers him right in the back and he dies immediately. Then, what's kind of dumb though is then the brother cop shows up, Paul shows up, and goes to literally the exact same spot in the exact same way, sees his partner down on the ground, "Hey, you okay? Call for backup!" Jesus! And then the Wendigo is behind him in the exact same position, so you think, oh, is he gonna do the exact same kill? No, instead of stabbing him, the Wendigo pushes him to the side because plot armor. It's like, no, wait, we know that character's name. We can't kill him. No, sir. No, siree. At least not as easily. So yeah, it's a little silly, the plot armor, and then the sister to the teacher goes there into the exact same spot too, but now the Wendigo's gone. It's like, I've seen 3 characters enter this place the exact same way, and only one of them died because we didn't know his name. There were times when the sister teacher character annoyed me a little. I know you have trauma, and I know you think that this kid's getting abused, but like, there are times when, like, the brother says, "Okay, I'm getting a warrant to search the place. We need the warrant to go through." And she says, "No, we have to go now. What is wrong with you?" It's like, stop giving him a hard time. He's trying. He got the warrant. He's doing it. Don't be hard on him. And then also, like, when the bully goes missing, and the cop goes to the bully's mom, who's terrified, and he's like, "Look, we don't know anything yet. We just have to assume. We can't assume that this is part of the murders. Like, let's just assume it's a coincidence. We'll find him." And then the teacher goes up to him and like, "What do you mean? Why are you what do you mean it's a coincidence? Of course he's dead." It's like, is he supposed to tell the mom that? Like, "Oh yeah, your kid's definitely dead." Like, have some decency, like, sometimes the teacher character was, I feel like she was way too hard on her brother a lot of the time. Like, her brother's trying to do the right thing. It's not like he was ever mean to her at any point in the film, but she was hard on him several times, and it just made me think, like, you're kind of a dick sometimes. But it is nice that she cares about the kid. There's nothing wrong with that. So then, at the end of the movie, when they know that it's a Wendigo, because, the wise old Native American chief told, like, and by chief, I mean, or not chief, sheriff. I meant to say police chief, but actually this town has sheriff. So the wise old Native American sheriff told them about the Wendigo. And at this point they've seen it, so they go, and she finds this actually kind of also pissed me off, and again, bad sister. Her brother was nearly killed by the Wendigo, and it threw him to the side and beat him up, and she finds her brother almost dead, and she's like, "Oh my god, you need to get to a hospital." Puts him in the car, doesn't drive to the hospital, drives to, like, the mine to find the Wendigo. It's like, drop your brother off at the hospital, you horrible sister. Like, my god! So yeah, then she gets out, and because she's like, I have to save the kids, but the kids aren't in any Actually, the kids aren't in any danger. The Wendigo's not hurting them. It hasn't hurt them yet. It's not going to hurt them now. I guess she doesn't know that, but your own brother is dying next to you. Take him to the fucking hospital. It's a miracle he didn't die in this film. But yeah, they go in there, and the Wendigo is in there, and actually really cool design choice. It still has the face of the dad, like, from its previous body over its own face. And then it just takes that face off. My guess is that's like the last humanity leaving. It takes the face off. There it is. Anyway, so yeah, then she gets in a fight with the Wendigo and very easily kills it, honestly. She just goes full, oh, I'm a badass now, and takes the thing down. Like, you're a teacher. I don't know how you know how to fight this well. But, you know, I find it hard to believe that one person could defeat this gigantic creature with antlers and everything like that. Like, I would have bought it better maybe if like, let's say her brother didn't get horrifically wounded. I think it would have been cooler if she and her brother fought it together. Like, because then I think it would have made more sense. You could have had her brother shooting at it while she grabs the pole to stab it. You know, I think that would have been a lot better. Also, one thing about that scene I also didn't like was while she's fighting the Wendigo, suddenly Lucas, who's been nothing but loyal to his father and brother the whole movie, just runs up and stabs the Wendigo in the heart with a knife. It's like, where did that come from? Like, maybe if we had a scene establishing Lucas starting to realize, oh, that's not my father anymore, or maybe if the Wendigo had, like, done something to Lucas's brother, like, maybe if the Wendigo had killed Lucas's brother, because his brother dies later anyway, then I feel like it would have made more sense. Than Lucas would have been like, I have to kill this thing. But instead, he just kills it for really no reason that I can think of. I don't get it. I really don't get it at all. So yeah, the teacher defeats the Wendigo, and then the little brother, they realize he's too far gone in the movie. Yeah, it's dark. The teacher goes and stabs the little brother to death. And then, you know, they take in Lucas, who, yeah, I guess he's okay living with the woman who killed his father and brother. I don't know. So, there are some things about this movie that aren't great. And then it's revealed that Paul is infected, and then the movie ends right there. Again, don't get how Paul got infected when Lucas didn't. I don't get it at all. I do have a little theory that wow, I sound like I've been shitting on this movie, haven't I? Even though I said I like it. I do like it, but it's not a perfect film. Like, this is why I didn't give it an 8 or a 9 or a 10. It's got things that hold it back. I praised it in the non-spoilers. Now I'm shitting on it in the spoiler section. But yeah, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I do have a small theory that I think the movie may have been a metaphor for, like, a family being destroyed by, like, meth abuse or substance abuse or whatever. Like, maybe the dad becoming a monster was supposed to symbolize, like, when your dad, like, becomes an addict and completely changes who he is and breaks out of his old shell and just becomes a monster, and like the kid having to pick up the slack now and do things for the dad, even though the dad has become, like, toxic and not good. It's like, but and then maybe the teacher defeating the Wendigo is supposed to be her conquering her own trauma or something like that. That's some stuff I thought of later, like, hey, maybe the movie was trying to say this. So yeah, that's a possibility. Let me know what you think of that theory. But yeah, overall, those are my thoughts on the movie. Not a perfect movie. Again, not a whole you have to go to the theater and see this, but good overall. Because well acted, does have very likable kid actor, and the Wendigo does look really cool. I just wish they had done more with it. I wish we had gotten some more cool kills. I wish the final fight hadn't been such a, oh, the teacher beats him like that. Oh, they also did have a little bit of the Wendigo being afraid of fire, which I believe is in the myth, but they didn't set it up as the problem. They should have had maybe the old Native American tell them that, but no, she just pulls out the flare and it's scared and it's out of nowhere. I got it because I know the Wendigo myth, but not everyone who sees this movie is going to know the Wendigo myth, so that's a little bit of a problem there. And then people who do know the Wendigo myth are going to be annoyed that the Wendigo is a virus now instead of a curse, and some of them are going to be annoyed that they're using the modern age interpretation of the Wendigo and not the original Native American one. So I think no matter what side of the thing you're on, you're gonna have problems with this movie. But it doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. I did. Hopefully you will if you choose to see it. I mean, you're in the spoiler section, so you've already seen it. So what did you think of the film? That's it. I'm the Mythology Guy. That was a mythology-based movie, and a pretty decent one. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.